India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It is considered to be a counterweight to China. But recently, the nation has been facing a slowdown. This was evident even before the impact of COVID 19, which has put the entire world into a macroeconomic crisis. So, let us peek into what has led to the slowdown even before this pandemic. India's GDP growth rate has fallen to its lowest in 6 years. Investment has weakened and unemployment has risen. A statistical data from US says that from 2006 to 2016, 271 million people in India have been lifted out of poverty. So the total population, which was 55% who were under poverty in 2006, has fallen to 28% in 2016. Another census by World Bank says that in 2007, only 70% of India's population had access to electricity. That number has improved to 93% in 2017. All this was backed by a flourishing economy. But right now, we are running out of gas. The last quarter of 2019, we saw that GDP growth rate has fallen to 4.5%. It is the first time it is falling below 5% since 2013. Now, this is still higher compared to developed nations such as US. But in India, we can see that 12 million people are entering the workforce every year. To sustain this workforce, we need to grow at a pace of 9%. But the falling growth rate is now giving rise to unemployment. Moreover, we can see that consumer spending is also on the slowdown, and in 2019, consumer spending fell by 3.1%. And at the same time, consumer borrowing is also rising. Now, all this we can see even in slowdown of goods such as salt and flowers. This is also happening while the government expenditure is on the rise. So why is this slowdown happening? Now, French 24, a French public media, says that long-term effects of policies such as demonetization and GST are seen right now. Now, these measures have shown that there can be some unstable policies which can be implemented in India. Now, a slowdown in automobile sector, which contributes to 50% of manufacturing GDP in India, will show down its trickling effects in the slowdown of the economic growth. Now, but when we ask the Indian officials, they say that there is a turbulence in international financial markets which is affecting India. For example, the trade war between China and US has put major international investors at a back foot and therefore preventing them from investing anywhere. But the other thing we also have to see is that United Nations is also saying that there is a possibility of a recession in the year 2020. But is India caught in all this flux? I would probably say no. Most of India's problems are self-inflicted. Now, the growth in 2000s came from heavy borrowing from banks and for infrastructure and business developments. Now, these loans which were bought at those periods were showing such default higher default rates over the period. So when these loans were getting defaulted, we could see that our non-banking financial sectors saw a rise. So non-banking financial sectors provided credit to people over this period for us to make this economic growth. So from non-banking financial sectors, this boost to consumer spending was provided from there. Now, in 2018, when infrastructure lending and financial services failed, it sent shockwaves throughout the NBFC sector. Now, from this collapse, it was very hard for the NBFC sectors to rise again. Now, on top of all this, our unemployment rate rose to 7.7% in 2019. RBI's data also shows that consumer savings has come down from 23.6% in 2012 to 17.2% in 2018. Household debt has risen to 10.9%. There's also a slowdown in foreign investment when a surcharge tax was placed on foreign portfolio investors in July 2019. That saw the worst performance of our stock markets in over 17 years for the month of July. There was a big backlash for the surcharge tax and then it was scrapped off within a month. Now, we have to see what was actually happening in India's GDP growth rate over the years. Truth is, India always wanted to achieve a 10% growth rate over the years. It has always been in its aim, but it was never possible or we have never achieved it. To achieve it, we will need low and consistent tariff levels, a policy which has been stable over the years. Import tariffs and lack of exports have hurt our economy the most. But we can see that steps are taken. For example, our corporate tax rate has been lowered, and major rollback such as labor laws must be corrected with a long-term vision. It doesn't matter what has caused the slowdown, but we must bounce back to prevent a major downturn. A clear planned economic vision with structured plans would be the way to go. Thank you.